People, even more than things, have to be restored, renewed, revived, reclaimed, and redeemed. Never throw out anyone. Audrey Hepburn. Have you ever looked in the mirror and not fully seen yourself looking back? Or go to your wardrobe after the ebbs and flows of life, only to find your clothes just aren't you anymore? Do you find yourself in a rut, or that your physical state is holding you back to some extent? Are you dissatisfied of how others see you? Whether you're yearning to refine and refresh, or even simply craving a delightful switch up, this video is for you. Today, I'll be walking through the steps to develop, implement, and maintain your coveted look, all while creating the desired effect. How to rebrand yourself with fashion, reinvent your identity on a visual level, and alter people's perception of you. To answer the question, can you go over fashion rebranding for an individual? Like what to do when you want to change people's perception of you. A rebrand, by definition, is the transformative art of crafting this alluring image that not only captivates the senses, but ignites a burning desire to conquer any objective in style. Through this, you position yourself strategically to have the desired impression or outcome you wish, simply through your appearance, as this is the first interpretation and sets the bar for your life. Personal branding is all about building a reputation, not just through internal development, but also externally as well, to back yourself, to give yourself evidence of the work that you have done. To perceive a person is to pick up on and act upon social signs about individuals, and fashion is this nonverbal language, their connections to others. Unlocking the essence of a person's style is akin to unraveling a captivating fashion narrative, similar to what we see on screen but in the real world, where every social sign becomes a vital clue. It is through these sartorial connections that we embark on a journey to build, perceive, and ultimately embrace this unique tapestry of us as an individual as well as the world around us. Some people's impressions of other cultures are colored by preconceived notions and broad generalizations that they can even apply to themselves. This is on such a grand scale, and we stand within it to some extent, but it's very similar to a TV show or a film, where not everyone is considered the main character. They have their own valid storyline. Similar to an argumentative essay, think of pathos, egos, and logos. You want to establish trust and authority, and be able to back this with your emotions and logic. This isn't just for professional occasions, but personal as well. In psychology, there's also multiple perceptions. Ultimately, the goal is to create an image that conveys a message, as fashion is this universal nonverbal language. And according to a number of studies, most experts agree that roughly 70 to 93% of communication is nonverbal. So you can use your substance to create your style. This, by extension, will change the way that others see you, because it's not about looking outside for validation and trying to alter the perception that people view you in. And this does not mean purely about appearances, but also personality, well-being, and overall mindset. Many times when people are trying to quote-unquote glow up, have this makeover, or conduct a rebrand on themselves, they skip the necessary steps to build and create their coveted look, and don't get the response they want because it's not as simple as going on a shopping spree or getting a new haircut. Some qualities that affect these first views are the shape of the face, the way a person speaks, how beautiful they are, how they are feeling in general, their self-esteem, how they dress. So just by changing what you sport, it's almost like wearing a costume if you cannot back your style with substance. When this happens, when you do a makeover and try to glow up overnight, the vicious cycle continues where you're left feeling almost dissatisfied and frustrated, trying to find answers within trends that aren't just physically but emotionally tolling as well. This is because people develop and form their identities over the course of their lives. It can't be just adjusted overnight, At our core, we have these set traits and set physical features. To rebrand is not to imply any kind of self-betrayal. To disregard the old self isn't right, but it needs to be done as a reimagining of who we are. Step is to define your it factor for yourself. It's this facet that goes beyond a person's appearance, transcending physical beauty to a radiance that comes from within, that further enhances the outside, through actions, feelings, and personality. The it factor cannot be defined to a single look or attitude, as it does vary person to person, but always has a distinct presence that not only captivates the eye, but commands the room. For example, I do speak more in depth on this in my supermodel as well as it girl analysis, but Yasmin Guri, she has this very regal, very airy factor, resulting in the ensemble she sported in the image of these high fashion brands to always be so sophisticated, sexy, and mature, with a refined and strong presence. Behind the scenes, she was this woman of substance. She was an avid reader, driven, intelligent, and she was able to make this present in her looks. No one can know what's behind closed doors when a person walks into the room, but what we do behind closed doors is what makes us who we are. So when she's reading all these books, when she has this grounded natural charm, this self-assurance and vulnerability, she's able to carry herself, and it creates this regal, almost airy factor to the ensemble she showcased. But obviously, a supermodel has a group of professionals putting her together to go out on the runway, and she of course is channeling the aesthetic of the brand she is working with. Another example is social media star as well as Inferno contestant Song Jia. This is an instance of personal branding. We see that she creates the strongest impression out of the girls, and even speaks about creating an impression that isn't necessarily true to form, as the others didn't perceive her right on the mark, but she is not stressing herself about correcting them. As people, we don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. Rather, she continuously carries and styles herself as she is, and through the test of time shows that she is this very sweet girl who has a stylish streak and knows what is meant for her will come to her. Finding your it factor really is not about explaining yourself. It's very much show, don't tell. You're creating an impression. It's not to define yourself by your career, your relationships, or skill sets, but to look inside of yourself and think about who you are. What are you trying to share? What problems in this world are you trying to solve? Often it's deemed very politically incorrect to say that the outside matters, but it's very unfair and true. For a light example, doctors often have restrictions, depending on where they practice, around tattoos being above the neckline or beyond the wrist. You decide on the basis of your look. You're not boxing yourself in, but rather boxing out what you do not want, what doesn't work for you, and allowing others' expectations to interfere because you don't want to look into the mirror and see societal expectations or the pressures of your life. You want to see yourself. Instead of adopting a victim mentality from others, you should feel very empowered by your beliefs that you've earned through diligent self-work and lived experiences. To act without reservation as the person you consider to be your best self. Start imagining yourself being treated the way you want to be treated, and don't try to make it happen. Putting your trust in the praise of individuals you actually admire, rather than the approval of strangers or the norm, will free you. It will allow you to follow your own path in life, unrestrained by the opinions of others. It's like a weight being lifted. One of my favorite fashion writers, G. Bruce Boyer, states, "Most people don't take clothing seriously enough. But whether we like it or not, clothes do talk for us, and we make decisions based on people's appearances, because most individuals have a fairly fixed notion of who they are and how they should look and behave. Their metamorphoses tend to be accurate." End quote. For example, in Gossip Girl, Serena, she has this self-concept that she is nice and friendly, and in turn, she is more welcoming and open. Which brings us to step 2, not only to define your voice through the it factor, but the tone. When I say to picture a button down of denim, we're all going to think of looks that are quite different. And even though these pieces are the same, there's going to be a very diverse image from one person to the next. Obviously, there are cultural and societal influences that do shape us, but it shouldn't be about adhering to them. Many times when I speak with a client, they talk about wanting to look successful, to be pretty or handsome, maybe even expensive, but what does this really mean? What I consider success to look like is probably different than you. If you're interested more on the psychology of looks in the workplace and the effects of how you dress, I do have a video titled Why Mean Girls Wear Pink for further information. But really, think about your younger self. Would he or she approve of your looks? What about your older self? Will your older self look back and think, oh, I looked so good then, I'm so happy I experimented? Or would they go, why did I do this? It has really set me down the wrong path. The base of your stylistic voice in terms of fashion is going to be rooted and built upon the foundation of your body type and color palette, which I do have 2 guides available on the channel if you need help understanding this for yourself. But it's also knowing how to do your hair to embrace your face, to create the visual weight and perception of your features that most aligns with your personality, your makeup to accentuate your beauty, your clothing to not only look good, but to convey that it factor you hold, the one that you yield and makes you unique. Now, this is where if I were working with a client, it would become very individualized. But since this is a YouTube video and you all have very different looks, aesthetic goals, and so on, instead of personal shopping, giving general fashion advice, doing a styling session, or an image analysis, I'm going to ask you to take inventory of your closet now and analyze how it works to fit your rebrand. Which colors, cuts, brands, and pieces you already have. What are some similarities between the pieces you want to keep in your closet? What is it about the pieces that you feel are holding back? Really begin to look at this and see how they can be styled in ways that align with your rebrand. If they're very left field, don't even stress about it. Just set it aside, and for every piece you take out, create a little wish list and what you would replace it with. And doing this on a site such as Pinterest, so everything is visually together right in front of you, and you can see the image coming together, then tweak it before splurging on something that you think you love and you have a penchant for, but may not work or even suit the rebrand that you're going for. Shopping addiction is on the rise. It's so easy these days, and when you don't look the way you feel, the way that's so authentic to you, when you are comfortable in yourself, it distances you from the life you want, the life that you deserve, because you are buying into these fads that are passing, or giving into societal standards, or maybe even the pressures in your life. Makeovers are very psychological as they are physical. A makeover unveils the infinite possibilities that lie within each individual, illuminating their path towards self-discovery and reinvention. Accepting development visually is not only aesthetically satisfying, it is also revealing an inner transformation. It's something deeper, to be grounded, to live more in tune with the world. Rather than indulging and splurging on trends, investing in basics that can be styled a variety of ways, and then coming in with the glitz and the glamour at any price point results in some of the most beautiful, enduring looks. It really allows you to be creative and experiment with your look, but again, always look chic and have this foundation that is classic. Trends are not necessarily a bad thing. You are allowed to enjoy something that is trending if it speaks to you. A trend can be just that to someone, but serve as a staple or a statement piece to someone else. It exists for a reason. There's a huge difference between looking more vintage once a trend passes than dated. When making a curation, you choose what truly speaks to you in a sense that you can still wear it once the trend passes. It won't look outdated because it will work within your look. This will aid in making it a timeless piece, transcending a boundary that's stylish and elusive. Think of one of the most popular shows in terms of fashion, Sex and the City. How costume designer Patricia Fields would mix these vintage, haute couture, designer runway pieces, with thrifted or even common market fashion. There is this very wonderful quote by Gianni Versace where he explains, "Don't be into trends, don't make fashion own you. But you decide what you are, what you want to express by the way you dress and the way you live." So as we know, trends cycle. Aesthetic comes back that you like during this time, you can shop smart and use this period to really get something you love with a surplus of choices, a great budget, instead of having to hunt down a specific piece and maybe spend a hefty price tag that you don't initially want to do. In fact, it's a fairly laid-back approach to fashion trends that take personality more into account. So now that we've got this concept down, let's go into implementation. Your body is a bit like a blank canvas. So I'm not going to be giving you advice on how to take care of your body. I will leave that in your hands, your doctor's hands. But what I will say is that finding some sort of movement that you love will improve how you carry yourself. This could be as simple as going for a little walk out in the sun, listening to your favorite music or a podcast, to take dance classes, doing a home workout video, or working with a trainer. In terms of your body are your own to define. There are people who want to be curvy, there are people who want to be androgynous, there are people who want to be thin, there are people who want to be muscular. But with this aside, take out the visual component of it. Simply through having regular movement, it will improve how you carry yourself, how you look. And this isn't about muscle mass or body fat, it's about stature, it's about conveying personality. The same way that actors will train for a film and develop a body to fit the character is the same way you can train your body to develop muscle memory that will then be somewhat present in your life. Because turning fashion into style isn't about buying the most expensive thing or creating the perfect outfit. It's all about how you wear it. The beauty of a bag hanging in the crook of the arm, the way your sunglasses rest in your shirt collar, how you walk in your heels. For a personal example, I went on to competitively figure skate when I was younger. Even though I don't compete anymore, a lot of those movements are present in how I hold, carry, and mind myself. Plus, with regular movement, you will just have a bit of a glow to you, which is always a nice bonus. A lot of people are rather sedentary due to school or work, so this will help you also be more in tune with your body. It will feel more natural to present yourself. And it's also very natural to fear being rejected, judged, or treated harshly. But if this rebrand is really something you wish for yourself, you need to do it and be conscious that you are stepping out of a box, and you need to do so with grace. For examples, designers such as Eddie Salmon, he transformed YSL into the brand we know and love today for eternal style as the founder intended. Or Karl Lagerfeld, transforming Chanel from being on the brink of Boston history to a powerhouse. Or Virgil Abloh, making Louis Vuitton a cocktail together of street style and high fashion for a completely new kind of luxury. If they didn't do those rebrands, we wouldn't have the different avenues of fashion. But it's in your hands to create style. And while it may not be everyone's cup of tea necessarily, these rebrands, they transform the perceptions of the brands, the way that these fashion houses are seen, the way that they are admired, the way that they are thought of. And you can do the same for yourself. Possessing self-knowledge and concept gives you this power over yourself. As an extension, power in your presence, rather than leaving it in another's hand to decide, hence exuding a quality that is very hard to define because you're the one defining it for yourself. It's all very je ne sais quoi. The more you make this routine, the more instinctive it will be, even if it's not natural to you at first. So please don't be discouraged if it really isn't coming easily to you. Everyone has their own strengths, and this is something you can be good at too. Or if you're simply looking to refine your look, you will find that your old look, style evolution, and experimentation will actually benefit you with the rebrand. I want to finish up this video by sharing a story. So one of the greatest artists, he was at a Paris market one day when an admirer asked him to do a quick sketch on a little paper napkin for her. He politely agreed and quickly created the drawing on the napkin. When he told her the price, she was shocked and she exclaimed, "How can you ask for so much?" "It took you 5 minutes to draw this." And he said, "No, it took me 40 years to draw this in 5 minutes." Style is the same in practice. Luckily, it doesn't take 40 years to become stylish. The more you make it routine, the more effortless it becomes since you allow it to be a part of you. You are acting not only on a visual level, but also internally as well, because you're reinventing what your identity is defined by, and fashion truly reflects morals, values, experiences, time periods, and, of course, social standing. Slowly, it will become like an extension of yourself and your spirit, since it will truly be your personal style. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe, like, turn on notifications, and comment. Thank you so much for watching.